What's up, guys, and welcome back to Sandcast Beach Volleyball with Triborn and Travis Mawerder, brought to you, as always, by our good pals over at volleyballmag.com. Before we get into today's episode, just a couple things I wanted to get to. First of all, a huge thank you to everyone who came out and said hey in Hermosa, either to say good luck before one of my matches or good playing after one of my matches, or just approached me and said that you guys liked the podcast. Y'all made my day, made my weekend. Always love to hear from listeners at sites, and it was a wild weekend and a fun one for sure. Secondly, so this interview is a little bit different. So we went deep into the archives for this one. This is an interview with the bad boy of beach volleyball, or former bad boy of beach volleyball, Steve Obradovich. I did this interview with Steve in December during bowl season of the college football season. The reason that we are unloading this one now is because yours truly messed up the audio of an awesome interview with Eddie the Eagle Ratledge. I don't exactly know what happened with it, so we're trying to get it fixed up. We sent it to some sound guys and trying to repair it, but we were overdue for a technological sound snafu, and this one's on me. I kind of jacked that one up, but good news is this is why we have backups on file. And the interview with Obradovich, for the old school guys listening, you know how entertaining he is. So it's a really, really fun interview, and it was fun to re-listen to it. I hadn't listened to it since December, so this is going to be a fun one for you guys. Eddie the Eagle, I apologize for messing up your interview. Hope to get it back, and worst comes to worst, we'll just have you on again and do it all over again. So before you guys actually do listen to the interview, I want to give a heads up. If we have any young listeners in the car or wherever you are listening, the interview is a little curse heavy. There's a fair amount of F-bombs, so just be aware. If I know that a couple of the young ball girls and ball boys said that they listen to the podcast and they enjoy it. So if you guys are listening, I would suggest putting the earmuffs on for like half of this one, because it it wasn't censored, and I didn't edit anything out, so it's a little explicit. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. And one more heads up before the interview is that we are doing a Firefly giveaway. So Firefly Recovery is one of the sponsors of the show, and I know that I am still pretty beat up after Hermosa, and I need some recovery devices, and Firefly is how I get the blood flowing back into the damaged area. So we are doing a Firefly Recovery giveaway via Instagram. So hit us up at sandcast_podcast, and I want you to comment with your favorite Steve Obradovich moment or memory or quote from the show. All right, and then Try and I will select the winner from that. So again, sandcast_podcast on Instagram. Comment with your favorite Steve Obradovich memory or quote from the show, and we will select a winner and send that over your way. Thanks, guys, and enjoy this episode with Steve Obradovich. Well, I always like getting into some of the players' backstories, just how they got into the game, just because coming from the East Coast, like volleyball, I mean, like it is pretty much anywhere but here, was kind of a girls' sport growing up, and I know that it has obviously a lot more history here. So did you grow up playing the game?
No, I didn't start playing until I was I think 16 years old. I played when I was we used to play basketball during off sports hours. We had the same period of gym or PE or whatever it was. So I went and started playing basketball, and then my brother and a guy named George Brett went out and started playing volleyball, with an old plastic ball in our courts and stuff with low nets. So I go, well, I want to try that. So I ended up trying that and kind of liked it. All of a sudden I could jump. I didn't know I could jump. I didn't know I could swing at a ball very hard. I didn't know anything. So that summer, I started playing a little bit more in high school. We didn't have a team. And then my senior year, my parents in April moved to the beach. So I really started focusing on the beach, and because I was down there every weekend. So that's how I just kind of kick-started it doing that.
Which beach were you by?
Manhattan Beach.
Okay.
I moved from El Segundo to Manhattan Beach my senior year. And then, I started playing down at the beach every weekend. And then, you start playing with different guys, you get better. Then I started playing in tournaments that summer.
Okay. And because I was going to say you won Manhattan in 76, right?
Yeah, 76.
With Marlowe. And so
Yeah.
so if you had picked it up when you were 16 and you were 21 in 76 when you won
21.
that? So
Yeah, 21 when I won it. Yeah.
you picked it up pretty quick.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I don't know. Same thing as Karch won early, St. John won early, but they were playing their whole lives. I just picked it up at 16, and my training, I didn't have the training they were doing. In fact, when I got a volleyball scholarship to SC, I was basically recruited off the beach. So as junior college, I played 1 year in junior college, and I just started playing really well on the beach. And these coaches, for some reason, heard about me, come down the beach and watch me play, and found out I was playing at El Camino College. And then they offered me, UCLA, Pepperdine, San Diego State, all the big, colleges offered me a scholarship for 2 years.
That's
I don't know, and I didn't really I played 1 year indoor and I didn't understand. I really didn't understand it when I went to SC. I just knew go up and jump high and hit the ball hard.
right. That's some recruiting process. How do you think they found your name? I know the beach community word spreads fast.
Because my brother was at SC, so he kind of knew that I was coming up, and Ernie Hicks. And then Al Skates used to watch the beach. He was a coach at UCLA, and he saw me playing junior college in a national deal. And then the guy at Pepperdine just was down at State Beach, and we were talking, and all of a sudden he didn't know who I was, and I got up and played. He came up to me afterwards. You want to go to Pepperdine? So it's kind of weird. The whole thing was bizarre.
That's funny. And your brother's name was
more. I was more, known at the beach than I was indoors.
Really?
Yeah. So it was one of those deals.
And so you ended up going to SC. Did your brother go there too?
Yeah, he was a football guy there.
Okay. And so
he played football for 2 years.
Is that what kind of swayed you to go to USC?
Well, my dad, we grew up in LA, and my dad was a big SC fan. He didn't go to college, but he grew up in downtown LA right by SC in the Coliseum. So he's always been a Trojan at heart. So yeah, my brother went there out of junior college. He was a football player at El Camino, and he got a scholarship. And I had trouble getting out of junior college because I had mono 1 year, so I came in February, I think, of 75, right when the volleyball was on, and my brother just got out of football. So I moved in with him, and played volleyball, and all my buddies, all the guys used to come. Pat Hayden, John McKay, all the guys who played with him used to come to my matches.
That's pretty cool. And so you were a big football player too growing up, right?
No, I just played in high school. I had some poor coaching. We had a bad team. I had to play quarterback, and it wasn't fun for me. I quit in junior college. I didn't want to play. I was playing volleyball. I go, I don't want to play football anymore because the coaching's so horrendous. So my brother and Pat Hayden and John McKay were working out for the draft because my brother was a 7th round draft choice. So I went out there with Hayden. My brother says, come on out of here. Pat needs guys to catch balls. So I went out there and ran some patterns. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was catching the ball. And Pat says, you should go out for the football team. I go, yeah, I don't know. So my brother talked to McKay. They let me out for 1 year, got the shit knocked out of me. And the next year, I didn't play volleyball for a year. And then next year, Robinson came in and gave me a scholarship. So I basically went in there on a volleyball scholarship, ended up on a football scholarship.
Okay. And you ended up, what position did you end up playing at SC?
I was a wide receiver, played on all the special teams, caught 5 passes. So I went from, it was really a weird year. I won the Manhattan Open when I was still in college. I played in the Rose Bowl and lettered on the number 2 team in the nation. And then I won an NCAA title in volleyball. So I had a pretty good year.
Yeah, and the year before that, you won Manhattan. So
no, that same year, yeah, 76, I won Manhattan, went to school, played in the 77 Rose Bowl, and it was one calendar year, and won the NCAA title in volleyball.
That's not a bad run.
No, I would have been. I was really close, Travis. I tell everybody that we lost our first game at SC. We won 11 straight. We were number 2 in the nation to Pitt when they had Tony Dorsett. Had we won that, I'd have been the only guy in the career to have 2 national championships, one in volleyball and one in football. Nobody would ever broke that record.
Yeah.
Not a prayer.
I mean, when you look back and reflect upon that, I mean, that's got to be just pretty cool to say in general, even if it wasn't a national championship backed up with another national championship, Rose Bowl national title, Manhattan in 1 year.
Yeah, it was great. I peaked at 22. I was like a gymnast.
And
yeah, so I was sorry about that. I peaked at 22. It was too easy to do.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it was a different time back then.
And so after college, what were you planning on doing? So sports obviously had been a pretty big part of your life.
They gave me a free agent contract in Miami. I lasted a day and a half, and Don Shula cut me, and I just went back playing beach volleyball. I had no urge to go indoors and play indoors.
Yeah.
One, I wasn't good enough, and two, I didn't want it. Man's got to know his limitations.
How come the indoor game wasn't too big of an appeal for you?
No, because I wasn't trained properly. All those guys, my passing was different, my footwork was different, everything was different, and you had to be, when 80 they were really getting good, then 84. I'd only been 30 years old, but I wasn't into it. I wanted to play on the beach. I mean, I didn't want to be around stuffy gyms, and I wasn't good enough. I just wasn't good enough. I was a really good indoor player, second team All-American. I was for college, but I wasn't an international guy. But I could beat all their asses on the beach, which we used to do, except Karch.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, when you came out to the beach, what were your plans post-graduation, just work-wise? Because I know that when you left SC, that was still when money was just starting to trickle in.
No, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. Yes. It didn't get big till to tell you the truth, till probably 85, 86, probably 88, 89. 89, it really started getting big.
Yeah, I was looking at just your BVB, and it looked like
I had no
timing. The timing of your volleyball career, it seems like you pretty much got out just as it was starting.
Oh yeah, I got married and had a kid, and I knew there was a future outside of what I was doing. I was a 7th seed when I left. I just said, I got to get out. I mean, I had a wife, a kid, a house. This isn't, going to keep me married for very long if I keep traveling 26 weekends a year.
Right.
So it just wasn't going to do it. So my shoulder hurt. I could have played 4 more years, but I go, there's another avenue out there. I can make a lot more money, and I'm thinking about the future. So I was, pretty smart about that, and it worked out really well for me.
Yeah, I mean, you founded your own restaurant. Is Julie's still around? Is that
no? They tore that down. I left there in I think 92. I still worked there on weekends, and then my mom and sister ran it. We closed it in 96. Thank God. Friggin' nightmare. Yeah, it just wasn't where my dad left, my brother left, and I followed him, and I got into real estate business and title insurance, and everything worked out really well for me.
That seems to be the most popular landing spot among former volleyball players. Everyone I talk to now is usually doing something with real estate.
That's because there's a point to that. There's a couple guys with jobs. A lot of guys get into real estate because they're used to being on the beach. They're used to not taking any shit from any coaches or from anybody.
Right.
So they figure they get into real estate. It's the same thing. They're working for themselves. They go, this is great, and they can use their competition deal going, okay, I'm going to compete against these guys. I don't have to be in the office at 9 o'clock every day. I work my own hours, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
They're in the area, they know the streets, and it really, you think about it, it makes pretty good sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So that's good. I mean, if Hovland could be a realtor, I tell him, I said, if you could be a realtor, anybody can.
Are you and Hovland kind of close just because you guys have such similar stories, just being a dual sport athletes at SC? Did you guys go to school together?
What's that?
Did you and Hov, were you in school together?
No, he came in. He took one asshole left and another one came in. But that's what I played with some really good volleyball players, but they're just boring. So I was the guy that, I chose everybody off on the other side because, they knew me from the beach, they respected me, and I would just get on their ass and tell them their horse shit, even singeing. Never got to play against Karch came in when I left too. So I had zero respect for any of those guys on the other side of the court. It showed. And then, Bob Yoder, Celso, Dusty DeVore, they never said anything. So I go, well, you guys have never won anything. So I'm pretty sure I can, with you guys, I'm pretty sure I can ride you to a victory.
Yeah.
I may not be the best player on the team, but I'm good for the team.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like, the straw that stirred the drink. Not that it was Reggie Jackson, but it, got everybody motivated. And a lot of guys got pissed off at me and my own team because, I was yelling at them. I don't want to hear this anymore.
I'm imagining sort of like a Bill Lambier type. Yeah,
I was just an idiot. I was young and stupid, and I was an idiot. I mean, but it was okay. We won. Yeah. So I mean, my reputation precedes me, but it's not. A lot of it's just play acting. I don't know why I did it. I was a friggin' dysfunctional kid, I guess. Grew up in a great family. I just was dysfunctional.
And I mean, an entertainer. It seemed like from everything.
Yeah, I know. Everything.
LA Times stories, and the word entertainer came up a few times.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it was. I figured volleyball needs somebody like that. And I've always been a clown. I've always been a big mouth and stuff. So got kicked out of a lot of classes, and, I always thought everything was funny. So it was just, I just wanted to entertain. I wanted to be like, you guys are so boring. We're never going to get anybody watching us unless there's some idiot out there like McEnroe or Connors or anything like that.
Right.
There's got to be a couple idiots. And I don't think they have any idiots now because they put this tight control on them, the AVP, which, they're not part of the FIVB when they're overplaying here, right?
Right.
They're part of the AVP. So he could let him go over here. He can let him go. You let him go to a certain point. Like the guys, give me an example of guys in the NFL that can dance in the end zone now. So you can control it and give him a little bit of line. But, they look at the ref and the ref's got his yellow card out. You can't yell at him. You can't look across the net and yell at somebody. It's kind of a friggin', I don't want to say, I can't say girl sport. It's kind of a pussy sport, the way those guys act.
And I mean, back then, just from everything I've read and everyone I've talked to, it seemed like it wasn't, not that there were no rules, but it was definitely a lot looser than it is now. I mean, how much have you seen the atmosphere change?
That's the way beach volleyball was forever, because we used to ref our own games. So now, the older guys don't like to see it change because you can't get the color out of there. And, we're professionals, and, basketball can, they got to be controlled. Football's got to be controlled. I mean, you can't intimidate the other person, and do it. But when there's a net there, you should be able to say something to the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a net dividing you where, football players can get in their head and stuff. So, they get right face to face and there might be some punches thrown. So I don't know, you just got to loosen it up, let them argue with the refs a little bit more and not, I don't know, but it's on TV and nobody wants to see. There's all sorts of ways you can look at it, Trav. As I talk about it, I think, God, it's on TV. How much shit do you want going on?
Right.
So if it's not on TV, it should anything goes. So anyhow, that's that.
So when you left SC, did you, I mean, like I said, at the time, there wasn't a ton of money in the sport, and there wouldn't be for a while.
Yeah.
So what were your plans post-graduation? I know that just from talking to a lot of the guys, a lot of them were just like, we're just going to go to the beach, work as little as we can just to kind of live this kind of beach lifestyle. I don't know if that
I didn't get
what you were going for.
I had to work full-time the whole time. I mean, when I got out of college, I was a waiter at the Chart House, and then I went to work for a liquor company when I was 22 and had to go out and sell liquor. I had to drive from Manhattan Beach to Orange County every day, to Garden Grove and go call on liquor stores and package stores and, or markets and grubby bars, that were open at 6:30 in the morning. And then my parents said, let's buy Julie's. And my brother and I were partners, and I had an equity stake in it just by working there. So my brother paid his share. So we divided up 4 ways, and I started working there. So I'm working there, playing volleyball. And I guess the question you're asking, why do I keep playing volleyball? And I go, I was good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really good at it. And, you don't want to quit at 22 or 23 if you're good at it. I like the adulation of people. Some guys get out of college, they never get to fulfill any dreams of, doing stuff, playing a, semi-professional sport or being the top guys in America playing. So that's why I kept playing. And it, I used to be around Mingus and, Hovland. Those guys, they never had jobs. I don't know how they made it. They went over to Europe, played volleyball, and saved their 20 grand and lived on it through the whole year. But I just couldn't. I had to work. It was instilled in me through my family and myself. I always had to have a job. I wasn't the type of guy when I got to college to go lay around. I didn't want to be a waiter. I tried that. I got to have something that's legit.
Right.
So I was always thinking down the line to get some sort of resume built up where I do stuff. So I played at Julie's from 79 to 92.
Oh, wow.
Found out I was going nowhere then. So at 38, I started my life over. Basically didn't have a lot of money, had a wife, 2 kids at the time. So I got to get this, and I got into the real estate market, did really well, and moved down to Laguna Beach and, watched the tour grow. And, I tried playing again when I was 39 and just, I don't know what I'm doing, So it was, I had a good career. I got more out of it winning 11 tournaments than guys that won 40 tournaments.
Right.
More notoriety, not that I'm looking for, but, everybody wants to talk to me because I was, like a John McEnroe. They want to find the color. Nobody, like you said, nobody wants a boring guy. So,
yeah, it seemed like you definitely accomplished your mission there.
yeah. So anyhow, my kids still meet people. I still meet people coming up to me, and I was in the elevator the other day at my office. Guy goes, "You Steve Obradovich? I used to watch you play volleyball." I get it all the time.
That's awesome.
I go, "How do you guys? What do I look different?" I think I do. You look exactly the same. I go, "I'm 63." I go, "What are you, 90?" I joke with him. Good luck.
Now we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by Wilson Volleyball. The AVP season is back, hallelujah, which means guess what? We are back to playing with Wilson volleyballs again, and the college girls plays with Wilson, and the CBVA plays with Wilson, the AVP plays with Wilson. There is a reason that all of the pros and those about to become pros play with Wilsons. All right, it is the best ball in the game. It is the one the pros use, and the one that you should use as well. And the good news is that you can get 20% off by using our discount code WilsonSand. All right, and I'll say that one more time. You can get 20% off by using our discount code WilsonSand for 20% off of the best balls in the game. This podcast is also brought to you by Firefly Recovery. Listen, we're all athletes here for the most part, which means that we are all aching in some way or other or sore somewhere. All right, and a lot of times this is our knees, which is where Firefly Recovery comes into play, which is why I love them so much. So if you're one of those weird people who go to work every day, like I do, you can strap this onto your knee while you're sitting at your desk, and it helps you recover by moving the blood around in the region. I'm not a scientist. I don't know exactly how it works. You can go to fireflyrecovery.com. They have all sorts of testimonials and information out there. But what I just want to say is that it works. Like if you're traveling on a plane to an FIVB or a Norseca or to AVP Austin or to AVP New York or Seattle or wherever it may be, use Firefly Recovery on the plane. It'll help you recover while you're sitting there on your plane ride talking to people that you probably don't want to be talking to anyway. So use Firefly Recovery to be the best athlete that you can be. We would like to welcome a new sponsor to the show, Pacific Coast Wealth Management, or PCWM, if that's easier for you. If your financial plan goes beyond making it into the main draw of an AVP volleyball tournament, check out their online planning tool at PacificCoastWealthManagement.com. When you're there, click on Build Your Financial Plan Here link and work with a licensed fiduciary advisor who can discuss 401k, IRA, life insurance, estate plans, tax strategy, Social Security, investments, or good old stock tips, also known as everything that beach volleyball players do not specialize in. You could use the help. Trust me, I know. Hit up Pacific Coast Wealth Management today. Business owners who need to offer benefits, retirement, or pension plans for their employees, partners, or themselves. Or 529 college savings or Roth IRA for your kids. Did you know you can gift $15,000 per year to your kid? Start with your favorite volleyball player by connecting with us at Pacific Coast Wealth Management Instagram or www.pacificcoastwealthmanagement.com or give them a call. 949-637-7052. Again, their phone number is 949-637-7052. Or We all know that beach volleyball, you're on Instagram. Hit him up at Pacific Coast Wealth Management on Insta. Hit him in your DMs, whatever it may be. Get in touch. We all know we need a little financial help in beach volleyball. These are your guys.
Well, I used to watch you and Hooper play. You know, I've had 1,000 people talk to me. But I go, these people never forget.
Yeah.
Because you're loud.
Yeah, that's funny. Does that surprise you when that happens? Or at this point, are you?
That doesn't surprise me. I'm used to it.
Every day.
It surprises the shit out of my kids. Because, you know, growing up, they'll go, oh, your last name's Obradovich. Is your dad Steve? Yes, my dad's Steve. Yes, he played volleyball. Yes, he was a big mouth. They still run into people. They still run. I mean, you know what? I'm not, you know, it's not like I'm my buddy George Brett, who I grew up with. I'm a nobody. You know, but somehow people in that volleyball world, the volleyball world's a real small world.
I was going to ask you if it was that George Brett that comes to mind immediately. I'm guessing it is.
Oh yeah, him and my brother were in kindergarten together. That's where I, you know, got like, you know, George is a great competitor. We used to play wiffle ball, basketball, and you know, that's where I didn't have a fear factor growing up or playing volleyball or sports. I go, shit, I already got the shit beat out of me by my brother and George. How to compete. So, I mean, you know, George was like, you know, fearless competitor too. And so was my brother. So, you know, my brother's 7 years in the NFL or 9 years in the NFL. George, Hall of Fame baseball player, me. So, I mean, you know, although I played volleyball, but they still played, you know, it was great. It was a great time growing up. Yeah. I still talk to them.
It's an athletic group of friends.
Yeah, it was something. So, that's what honed my skills of being an athlete. And George used to play everything. My brother played every sport growing up. And we had some battles in the house. We'd make up games and football games. And I mean, he's just, you know, because he's over to the house all the time. So he had a backyard. And, you know, he was ambidextrous, so I was a lefty. So he used to pitch to be lefty, my brother righty. And I used to just, you know, 8 years old, I go, this is not fair. He's throwing curveballs at me.
The lefty on lefty matchup early.
Yeah, exactly.
That's tough.
Yeah. And I quit baseball because I couldn't hit left-handers.
I did the same thing. I'm lefty too. I hated it.
I didn't like guys throwing at my head. I hated it.
Me neither.
Yeah.
And you came in volleyball at such an interesting time. So event concepts take over basically as soon as you graduate SC, and then you know, from 78 to 84, event concepts run it, and then that's when the AVP gets founded, and you know, you guys protest the world championship. So what was that time like when the AVP was beginning to sort of push out event concepts?
It was a bunch of knucklehead young kid volleyball players getting together. I thought it was like, yeah, I'm going to go along with it. You know, I was in my own business, so I'm going, you know, if you guys don't like it, don't strike, just don't come back next year or do something like that.
Yeah.
I was not a striking type guy. I was not a union type guy. So I'm out there carrying a sign. Yeah, Fishburne sells knicker scabs or whatever. But at the end of the day, what do we want here? You go, oh, they're making all this money. They're making all that money. I go, really? You really think they're making that much money? I just didn't get the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, I joined the AVP. Did it get any better? No, the next guy they fired too. We had, God rest his soul, John Stevenson run it, who was and Kevin Cleary, but they're not business guys. They're not anything. So, we do the same thing for Jack Butefish, and then Leonard Armato comes in. And then, I don't know. I never really got, it was always kind of a secret what Leonard was doing, what John Stevenson was doing, what, I think they bounced Kevin Cleary out. It was always, we couldn't find out the financials, couldn't find out anything. So nobody's really, the only guys who, Sinjin was real tight with it, and maybe Randy. And I don't know about Don Hum. They just cared about, most guys care, how much am I going to make?
Right.
There's certain guys that want to get into the nuts and bolts of it. I wasn't one of those guys because I knew it wasn't going to be my future. I knew the money's going to grow, but at one time it's going to peak, and it did. Miller Lite got out and just left us like, with our dicks in the wind.
Yeah, a big tab to pay.
So,
to pay it.
Oh, yeah, because those guys are making $500,000 in prize money, in their pockets. They're paying out $2 or $3 million, which is great for volleyball. But it just after the 92 Olympics or 96 Olympics, it just friggin' died.
Yeah, it's crazy timing too.
What Karch won, 92 or 90? I think he won 96.
96 was Atlanta. That was the first
Yeah,
time
yeah.
Beach was in the Olympics, and it gets all this
Yeah.
fanfare, and then the AVP goes broke.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like they lost their sponsors, and I think they, you know, I always said they needed a sugar daddy. They needed a guy at Google. They needed a guy at Yahoo. They needed, you know, Ellison or whatever those other guys, those internet guys.
Yeah.
I kept telling them, you guys are, you know, you got to swing the big fist. You know, you got to be a big game hunter. You can't, you know, Miller Lite or Bud Light's good, but you got to be able to sell it. And I don't know, because the demographics, the TV ratings or whatever, I didn't think it was a beer thing anyhow. I think it's, you had to find a very rich company and a guy that cared about volleyball. You know, CEO or whatever, because that's, you know, you look at all those golf events and stuff like that. That's all CEOs that like golf.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they're getting a return on their dollar, but they got to spend it. So, you know, I would have, if it was me, I'd have been searching other places.
Yeah, for a Donald son, maybe. Feel like that's what we found now.
You know what? He's not. I mean, I love Donald. I don't love him. I think Donald's doing a great job. I mean, he brought it back. Is he doing the best job? No, I think he could do better. I think he's got his way of doing things, but seems to be a fair guy. You know, I you know, played golf with him and done stuff, but you know, you're always looking for, you know, everybody can pick apart every event, you know.
Right.
I went there. The sponsors aren't like the top tier sponsors, but he's organized and people go. I mean, I'd like to see him have, you know, 12 to 16 events. He's got what, 8? Maybe 10?
Yeah,
8?
I think 8's upcoming this year.
We used to have 26.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was every weekend. It was the most fun. And I had total withdrawals when I left.
I bet.
Well, fuck, you know, you figure from the time I'm 17 to 35, 18 years of having every weekend in my life planned for me for volleyball.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you're going, oh, well, I live 3 blocks from the beach. What am I going to do on the weekend? Taking my kid down to the beach, and then, you know, everybody's, you know, going to the beach. So, I mean, I had withdrawals. It took me, you know, 3 or 4 years to get over it.
I never thought about it that way. Just like you not really realizing what there was left to do.
Yeah, you miss the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, you miss it. So, I mean, you know, it weared on me personally. And, you know, where's on your wife that you're not happy? I felt bad for that. It was just, it was a horrible time. Not horrible. I mean, it just wasn't a good time when you're getting ego stroked every single weekend during the summer. So that was that.
And 2, you know, you were also, I know that this was towards the tail end, but you were around the volleyball scene for when the FIVB push was, you know, began, at least.
Yeah.
What was that like? I know that was almost as contentious, if not more, than the AVP and event concepts. I know because like St. John and Randy kept getting fined for skipping tournaments to go play international.
Oh, I did. I just didn't care. I wasn't one of those guys that, you know, I talked to them or whatever. It was out of my control. I had a family. It never, like I said earlier, it never mattered to me.
Yeah.
It never mattered. It just didn't matter. I just, you know, hear them and, you know, I understood both sides, but it just didn't matter. I just kind of lived through Dodd and Hobb, and they, you know, yell and scream about her, especially Hobb. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right, Tim. I don't care. All right, what do you need me to do? You want me to write a letter? Yeah, you got to go talk to that guy. Okay, I'll do it. I just turn around. I'm not doing shit.
And now, I mean, now that we look at it now, and the FIVB is the biggest tour in beach volleyball. Although, I don't know. I mean, the one in Brazil is pretty big too. But do you think that it was overall a success to bring the FIVB into the picture for beach? Or do you think that the AVP would have been better off if we'd have just kept it here?
I personally think now that I personally think now that the FIVB and AVP should be intertwined. I mean, they get a lot of money over there, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the specifics, but it'd be nice to have international events and AVP events. But you know, the way Donald is, he's got his ball, and if you don't want to play ball with him, he's going to take it and go home.
I was kind of curious just about sort of the landscape. So obviously, St. John and Randy, and Karch and basically whoever he decided to play with were always at the top. What separated St. John and Karch just from everyone else? What made them so good? Because you look at it on paper, and there are a lot of guys who are 6'2", 6'3", and very athletic with good ball control. But I mean, they took it to a whole new level.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. They both had very good ball control. They both played extremely great defense, and they both, for the most part, always had really good blockers playing with them. And Karch used to take turns with Steffes, but St. John never blocked. He had Randy behind him. So, I mean, Randy was, such a dominant blocker, one of the most dominant blockers of all time. So, I mean, St. John had such an advantage doing that. But, he's played with other guys. He won with Karch. St. John was a great defensive player.
Right.
Can't take that, but he had Randy, and Steffes used to beat those guys, Karch and Steffes, because they both blocked, and I don't know. And then Whitmarsh and Dodd, they were there, so they were similar because they had ball control, and they had the mindset where they couldn't lose and they wouldn't lose, and they had good players playing with them. So, I mean, that's their similarity, their competitiveness, their mental toughness, and they had unbelievable ball control, and they had, their unbelievable shots. They both can hit it anywhere on the court they wanted to at any time. They're very precise. Most of it's mental. They're just grinders. In the old school, we had to play a long timer all day or game to 15 points. St. John was a grinder. I never seen him get tired. I never saw Karch get tired.
It's funny hearing a lot of the old school guys talk about, if a player cramps in the Olympics or something, the first thing they bring up is we used to play for 10 hours all day.
Oh, we always do it. Yeah, we do it now. These guys have two matches a game. Dalhousie going to play two matches, win 21-15, 21-17, and you play the other one, he's done for the day.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. We look back at it. My wife, I don't know how you did that. Play from first match was at 10, and you don't get off the beach till 5:30.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy looking back at some of the old Manhattan Beach Opens where you guys would play from sun up to sundown and then do it again.
I played
the next
when
day.
Marlo and I played the Manhattan Open. We played from 8:00 in the morning was our first match, and the finals got over probably at 7:15 to 7:30.
Just nonstop.
It was dusk. Yeah. Well, yeah, nonstop because you're in a loser's bracket.
Yeah.
And I look back at it now, I go, fuck, that's a lot of games to jump and stuff. But I had that, that euphoria or whatever. You don't know you're tired.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I never got tired the whole time. I was ready to play again. Next day I woke up, I could play. It's just you're running on adrenaline. I never, there's only like 4 or 5 tournaments that I won that I felt like that. Where shit, who wants to play next? Where I wasn't tired.
Yeah. And when you look back at that Manhattan Beach Open win, I mean, you were so young at the time, and now you've got your name on the pier, and you have what, four kids now?
Yeah.
And how cool is it to show them that plaque on the pier?
Oh, they don't give a shit.
You're the first person I've heard say that.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, they've heard so much, read so much or whatever. They don't give a shit. I try and tell them about, because I live in Laguna and I won the Laguna Open in 1977. And I go, hey, let's go down there, stand at the boardwalk. I'll show you what I played. I used to do that. I'll say, look, girls, I won that tournament. I go, Dad, shut up. They won't even walk down there to see that. They all 4 went to Laguna Beach High School. I don't think any of the 4 have ever been to the beach there or walked on the boardwalk with me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's, the things there, they've all seen it.
Yeah.
But they don't like, it's not like their most cherished deal.
Man,
and they
funny.
spelled my name wrong on it. And I've been, every time I look at it, they put O''D on there. So one of these days I'm going to tell them, hey, you got to reinscript that thing. Every time I go up there, I forget I was going to go into City Hall and go, we got to do something here.
Yeah.
I can't have those good things going to be when I'm dead. They spell my name right.
I've seen your name spelled differently. Is there an apostrophe or no apostrophe?
No, it's just an O small b.
So just straight
There's
up
no separation.
So OB, no separation.
Yeah. And I don't know how, out of that you got OB, but everybody called my dad OB. Then I got into, high school was OB. Then everywhere I go, my golf course goes OB, and I don't know how everybody finds out about it. I have no idea. I mean, it's like guys are calling me OB, and I go, "Well, I just joined the club."
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and
anyhow, what else you got?
Yeah, I don't want to keep you too much longer.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
You mentioned a couple names I wanted to ask about. One was definitely Kent Steffes, who he seemed to have a pretty caustic personality. That he won. His ratio of tournament wins to tournaments played is absurd. And his personality seemed to rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah, but he came in when I was leaving.
Okay.
Right. I mean, I beat him a couple times or whatever, but he was a very articulate guy. I think he might have had a little Asperger's in him. He's really intelligent. He just didn't have feelings for anybody else. Just didn't, I noticed that right away. I tried to help him, and he just was a dickhead. But like I said, he came in when I was leaving, so I come down and watch him play. He's a tremendous athlete, but I think he was bipolar or something. There was something wrong with the kid as I kept watching him. He wasn't arrogant. He was just a meathead. Just didn't care about it. Had no feelings.
And just a really good volleyball player too, apparently.
Yeah. But even, I had conversations with him. He was a nice guy. He used to come into my restaurant. Nice guy. And I remember he came in there one time, and Brian Lewis was in there. And I guess he decked Louis at a party, and Louis went looking for him. He beat the shit out of him. And everybody told Steffes, "You got to get out of there." He ran out of there. I go, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I got to go." And I go, "Okay." And then I find out Louis, where's Steffes? Oh, fucking guy. I owe him a punch. I go, "Okay, guys." So
that's funny.
Apparently he decked Louis in the players' tent. So, I mean, he was just that guy, You'd have to get more of a thing from Karch on him, but my outside opinion is he was nice to me, but I think he was bipolar, had a little, because he was so smart, had a little bit of touch of Asperger's in us, where he just didn't freaking care about anybody.
Just a little out of touch.
Yeah, out of touch. And then his eating habits weren't perfect.
No, I haven't heard too much about the Steffes diet.
Fucking slob on the table. We call Hovland about that. We used to joke about it. He used food all over his mouth and shit. He ate like a fucking pig.
That's funny. Him and Hov were a pretty good team for a while there too.
Yeah, Hov liked him. He tries. I mean, he's a really. I mean, you don't win like what they win. I don't know. Did he win 100 tournaments or win? He would win like.
He only really played for like 6 years too. I mean,
he's another guy that's
tournaments.
He's the other guy that saw the end coming and goes, "You know what? I don't want to do this. I'm too smart. I got a lot of money right now." And he was a smart kid. I've used to play with him. He's a competitor. I mean, they used to win out of the 26 tournaments or whatever they were. They'd win all but 4 of them.
Yeah, I just pulled up his BVB. He won 110. And
Steffes did?
Yeah, his first win was in 89.
So we got 100. Steffes and I got 121 between us. That's good. I always get around Dodd and Hovland, and I go, "Shit, we got 11 Manhattan Opens between us. This is good." Shut the fuck up. You only had 1.
That's what I told.
Right. We still got 11.
Me and Tri had we had April Ross on the podcast a couple weeks ago. And when I posted a picture of us on Instagram, and I was like, "Yeah, between us, we have like 20 AVP wins." And
oh yeah, isn't that great? Hey, it's just the facts. I can't make it up.
Didn't lie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then the last guy I wanted to ask you about was Stoklos, who it seemed like he almost gets underrated because he was surrounded by so many great players. Like, you go back and, you look through beach volleyball, and St. John comes up nonstop, and Karch obviously is referred to as the greatest all time. And I feel like Randy is underrated Hovland was like, no one gave Randy the credit he deserved because he was the best setter. He was the best hitter. He served like an animal. And it seemed like just Stoklos, he wasn't even that big to be such a legendary blocker either.
No, he was big. He was 6'5", all of 6'5".
Which I guess by today's standards, that's almost undersized.
Well, yeah, a little bit. I think Randy could have held his own in any deal.
I'd agree with that.
No, he was. I mean, I played with him in a couple tournaments. I mean, I was the first guy to like play with him, start playing with him. At where the hell we played? We played at Manhattan one year, and should have gotten the finals. Could have won. I friggin' played I was so tired I couldn't even finish barely finished against Mingus and Gage, and I had him 7-0, 8-1. I lost badly because I was out of energy. But no, I think he gets his due. I mean, we had a players vote, and he was like one of the top blockers and hitters on the tour. And everybody used to go, "Oh, Randy Doki, he's not very smart." And I go, "This fucker is a PhD on the fucking court. I mean, he is really smart. He used to help me and say, Steve, here's how he's blocking. He didn't tell me how he blocked me, nor did Hovland, but they would help me with other guys. But Randy was, I mean, you take, for all the credit St. John gets, Randy should get the same credit.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's how good they were.
And that's what it seems like to me, just everything that I read and look at. And it seems St. John kind of overshadows it a little bit.
Well, St. John knew how to speak. Randy wasn't, he didn't always say the right things. He didn't kiss the right ass. St. John was a manipulator, which is good. I'm not saying that. St. John knew how to manipulate situations so he would get the press. Randy wasn't, he's just kind of goofy Randy, but, he wasn't that goofy winning 120 tournaments with everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty fucking mentally strong, if you ask me. So, yeah, he's one of the best of all time. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, he had the sweetest hands in the world. I don't think there's ever been a setter like him, ever, to set St. John to 124 victories. Very rarely would I see him bump a ball. He'd always set it with his hands.
Yeah.
But he just, St. John, it's like, Abbott and Costello, it's all those combination of teams. There's always one guy that sticks out more than the other guy. There's always one guy that smothers brothers. You're not old enough to know that. I mean, there's always a straight man and, a comedian, but, St. John happened to be the star of the show. There's always one in there.
Right.
It's LeBron and his posse. Well, it's St. John and his horse.
True. Guess that's why Kyrie left for Boston.
What's that? Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go. So, I mean, they're both, I wouldn't give anybody the edge. Probably give Stokos the edge because he could win with a lot of different partners. Yeah,
he did. He won with I guess so did
he won with Mingus. He won with a lot of guys. But he was a phenomenal. Hey, we used to play in Manhattan, and we got to be 40. When they finally I was older, obviously, in Hovland. And we played 40s, and we would draw a big crowd because St. John, Randy, me, Dodd, Hovland, Stoklos, and Ludies, and these guys would put on a show when they were 40. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
We would just beat teams. I mean, just beat on teams, and everybody would come watch us play instead of the other guys. Randy was unbelievable. I mean, he could have still played on the tour at 40.
Yeah. You see what Hyden's doing at 44. He's still
winning. I know. Yeah, fuck, good luck. Yeah, it's a long time to sit there on your knees and go, what am I doing out here? That's what I couldn't believe it. 35 was sort of old back then.
Yeah.
To be playing volleyball, and I never wanted to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
I always said I'd quit early. I don't want to be that guy at 38 because you had nothing on the ball. So that's one of the reasons why it was a big reason why I quit.
And then now you're what, in Laguna?
Yeah, I'm in Laguna and Emerald Bay. I play every weekend during the summer.
Oh, nice. And you're a golfer too, right?
Yeah. I play once a week for sure on Fridays. We have our group on Fridays. We gamble and stuff like that. So it's sometimes
that's what golfing is
I don't
for.
Yeah, it's exactly. We had 12 guys yesterday. It's all the same guys. They're all really good golfers. We range from a +3 to yeah. I'm a 4, and then a lot of other guys are 4s and 5s like me, a couple 8s and 9s, and we had a 12 yesterday handicap. But
even a 12, they can hack it around pretty good.
No, they're fine. We can. There's a lot of gambling going on there. It's a lot of guys can lose $700-800 or win $700-800. And fortunately, I was on the right side of the fence yesterday.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah. So it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I appreciate. That's all I want to hold you for today. If I have any follow-ups though, I'll definitely give you a call. And then